Is Britain at risk of going too far with the war in Ukraine? We must ask this now because of our little delay earlier. We'll see how we go here. It may be not the subject you want to talk about, but if you do, call us and you'll get on. 0207 862 2222. So what's happened is this. Keir Starmer's gone to America. He's talking about Ukraine, and they're discussing this issue, that once we give them missiles, now that this fight has gone inside Russia, because obviously Russia have invaded Ukraine, so Ukraine have got every right to go the other way, they may end up firing missiles at Russian targets. And the reason this is important today is that Russia's President Putin has warned that could put the UK at war with his country.
This will mean that NATO countries, the United States and European countries are fighting against Russia. And if this is so, then, bearing in mind the change in the very essence of this conflict, we will make appropriate decision based on the threats that will be created for us.
He really wanted to say that because you do not see him doing interviews in the street very often, Cristo. It's a little bit chilling, isn't it?
I think it is, and I think that, I mean, the question is, are we at risk of going too far? And I think it's perfectly worded because we are at risk of going too far. I think that we need to be thinking about trying to de-escalate this because I've got real concerns about us providing these missiles. We're already in many ways fighting a proxy war through Ukraine with Russia. We're trying to I think Putin is trying to undo damage that he perceives has been done by the West for decades. I think the West is trying to undo a situation where they haven't foreseen this and done enough to stop this happening. But my worry is, this really worries me.
OK, just before we go to Amanda, let's take Bianca in Kent on the line. Hi, Bianca, well done for calling. What do you think?
Good morning, Jeremy. Sorry, I wish you hadn't put that bit on about you on the bike, because this is a serious subject, and it just keeps making me laugh.
Well, that was serious at the time, but yeah, it was serious for the golfer, I tell you.
It was funny. So, yeah, I just think this is getting absolutely crazy. This man is an absolute... I mean, I think he's worse than Hitler. And
about Putin, yeah?
You know, yeah. And the thing is, like, it is too far. You know, you can't sort of stop a fight by bringing more people in to fight, and that's basically what we're doing. And
well,
you know,
I remember Mrs. Thatcher saying, "You'll never appease violence," and that's the principle here, isn't it?
Yes, I mean the problem is we've made a commitment, but I agree with Christoph that if we're going to let these missiles go in, then we're talking about two of the largest, well, Russia's one of the largest armies, I know US is, but then they've got China on their side, and I think with Putin as a dictator, it's just going to be, it's his excuse to come back at us. Yeah,
I mean, he's already tried to kill people on British soil with that Novichok nerve agent attack, which killed a young woman who picked up the bottle in a park and thought it was perfume and sprayed it on herself, Dawn Sturgis, and she died. That was a Russian attack. So I don't know whether he'd go for terrorism or confronting us directly, but we'll take, thanks Bianca, we'll take some more calls after the break. By the end of it.
I will keep.
More calls now on whether we're just going too far with Ukraine. But what's happened is, obviously they've got our missiles now, they may fire them into Russia. Russia says, come on, the game's up here. We know it's you actually steering them, Britain and America, and they may respond and hit us. We're just analysing Putin here. Caroline in Essex, are you worried?
No, not really. I think we've got to be as hard as they are.
What do you think, Amanda?
I disagree with you, Caroline. Sorry. I just think, I know we have made a commitment, and I know sometimes you have to stand by it, but I think, as I said, Putin is a dictator. He has China with him, two of the largest armies. If we just go ahead and say yes, that's it. We're asking for it to come back.
Caroline, it's like you see someone stealing a bike and you're going to intervene, and then you realise they've got a gun. That's the analogy, isn't it?
Well, that's what I was trying to make. But no, I think what we've got to decide is, are we going to go in and back it or not? Yep.
And you think we should?
Yes.
So no matter...
We've got too much to lose if we don't. We've seen what he's managed to do in Syria and everywhere else. Now he's at his weakest. Yeah.
Yes, that's a good point, Caroline, actually, because there's something about what Ukraine is doing now. They've done such an astonishing thing of pushing back into Russia. it may be they're going to win this thing outright.
I mean, I don't think with the number of troops Russia has, that's probably possible. But I think that the issue is, I do actually completely understand the arguments for people saying that we need to do these missiles, because we've boxed ourselves in by committing. And we've boxed ourselves into a situation where it's all or nothing. It's either we throw everything at it or we don't. My worry is, do we want British people to die because of this conflict?
You know what we were watching there is not Ukraine damage. It was strikes near Moscow. That's how real this thing is now. So those shots we just saw were inside Russia. Caroline, thank you. Caroline, very much in favour of supporting Ukraine no matter what. Judith in Somerset, should we still support Ukraine?
I think we've got to support Ukraine, but bear in mind, and I'm from a military family, our troops are already in Ukraine. We're not told half of what's going on.
Of course.
You can't trust Putin. He's lied and lied and lied, but I think he's feeling cornered now, and he's a dangerous man. I don't really know how to say this. I really believe if those weapons can hit what his so-called intends to, not Putin, I'm on about the other, can't think of his name now.
What, Zelensky?
President of Ukraine. If the intention to hit the actual places where the planes are that are flying over coming over his territory, if he can kick off some of those places to stop his whole country being decimated, it leaves me in a position, and I think very hard about this, Jeremy, because I've had a dad, 2 brothers and 4 nephews, all military.
Oh, all military.
And we've had.
I've got it. Listen, I've got a map. I think I can show you in a second about the range of the missiles. But they're scared, are they, that we're getting into something too deep?
Jeremy, my head tells me go ahead. My heart tells me for my people, don't. It's a very, very hard decision.
Oh, bless you. Well, it's your family. And then it's, people who oppose war the most are sometimes those who are in the military because they know what the losses mean. Thank you, Judith. Just have a look over here, Judith, while you're there, because this will help you a little bit. Just gives you a sense of the range. These are the Storm Shadow missiles here. Grey area is Russian land, Russian control. And over here we have the Donbass. This is actual Russian control of Ukraine, and these parts are Russian parts of Russia. Okay, fundamentally, all right? So helping you out here. So Russia's invaded the red. The grey is Russia. This is 50 miles. This is 150 miles, and that's 186 miles into Russia. HIMARS, the missile they had already, would get that far. And there's a lot of these are military targets here. There's a lot there. The Storm Shadow, which is the one we're talking about, goes a lot further in, goes up to that line there into Russia. ATACMS, what do we call that? The ATACMS system over there, 186. So the cluster of targets around here are the most significant. Russian military targets to the east of Ukraine. The Storm Shadow can hit them. And Putin says if you do that, it's war, Cristo.
I'm so annoyed with the West about this. I'm sorry to say it, I really am, because this could have been avoided. We have ended up in this situation because for years NATO has been operating in Ukraine. NATO has expanded by country, democratic sovereign countries that had the absolute right to join NATO. They really did. But at some point, the West should have predicted that Putin was going to start getting annoyed about this. And I think that this has been kicked down the road for so many years. And then suddenly now the West is saying, right, well, we're going to sort of flex our muscles. I think Putin is horrific. I think he has absolutely no right to go into Ukraine and do what he's doing. But the West now putting everyone in jeopardy for an issue they could have predicted decades ago.